Got him. Now, Tank, now.
Welcome to your doom.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
Oh, okay.
Because he had assaulting an officer charge.
Yeah, and not peppering though.
Ah.
This guy. All right.
Okay, so anyway.
Did you hear about the peanut in Central Park?
No.
He got assaulted.
Oh my gosh, that's nuts.
This is a mercy laugh.
Oh.
Welcome to the Nonsensical Podcast. We have Renee back with us for episode 141A. And Renee, who are we going to be talking about today?
Well, today we are talking about a female serial killer.
Dun, dun, dun. She hated cornflakes.
Right. Actually, like not as many as obviously as men, but they're out there.
You know what?
They're
I'm
just sneaky.
so glad you brought that up. There is not as many female serial killers as men, but yet on this podcast, this will be the fourth one, and we've only done one man.
Well, I mean, the women are more rare, and they're studying all the true crime.
Sounds like Jake's sexual history. Like it's mainly women, but just one man.
He got in there.
Yeah.
And honestly, I've been comparing them to.
Speaking of which,
him.
my name's Adam Riley.
Yeah. My name's Jake Bussey.
I'm Renee Wright, and we still haven't mentioned who she is.
Yeah, who are we talking
okay,
about?
so her name is Mary Ann Cotton.
Okay.
And she's known as the Dark Angel or the Victorian Black Widow because this takes place during Victorian era England.
Spooky.
Who was the original Black Widow? Like,
It's from Marvel.
I know that, but I'm saying, was that coined about women that just killed their husband, or was there a specific?
I think that's all. Any woman that kills her husband is considered a Black Widow.
Oh, okay,
No, it's husbands. You can kill one, I think.
Okay.
So if I kill hookers, am I a Jack the Ripper?
Only if
It's
you
not like
cut
that,
your
or it's like
uterus out.
it's true.
Okay, so, and speaking of Jack the Ripper, she predated Jack the Ripper by about 15 years.
Oh,
So her kill count is also a lot larger than Jack the Ripper. So
Jack was like 4, right? Or something 5.
No.
Something like that.
yeah,
I think it was
like,
4. It was.
We need Tony here right
Yeah,
now.
I
Tony,
think it-
where are you at? Anyway, okay, let's go.
I think
But
it
anyways.
was, I think it was 4, and then there was a guy that left a note that they think might have been him, and he killed himself in the river or something like that. And they thought
Jack
it's
the River?
right. They thought it's a good chance it's this guy because he thought he was going insane. They thought there might also been a couple copycats.
Yeah.
You know, because the
they're
killing.
like, why not?
Well,
We always wanted to.
it's like I wanted there's a murderer going around, and I hate my wife.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you to us, not you to
Yeah.
you. Come here, baby.
Okay, so anyways, she was known as the most prolific serial killer in England for over 100 years. So
That's
she's very well and widely known.
Good for her.
You know what?
I mean,
Actually, okay, so the first female serial killers were identified in the 4th century Roman Empire using poison as their method. And actually, even to this day, women typically will use poison as their manner of death.
pacifists.
Unless you're Olga of Kiev.
Yeah.
There's a nice
yeah.
episode callback there. So.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming it's opportunity where it's like they're generally cooking
Yeah.
where they should be. No.
I've also heard, and this is real. I've also heard that like a good way to tell if your wife is about to kill you is if she's been a monster to you, and then she starts being real nice to you, like out of nowhere,
Making you sandwiches.
Yeah, like making you think. No, I'm being serious. Like this is
Yeah.
like a common thing that like they just the disdain whatnot, and then all of a sudden like, hi honey, come and eat, things like that. You're like
Bipolar.
yeah.
So
Isn't that the joke? Like all women are bi. It's whether if it's polar or sexual, you have to decide.
So Marianne,
Okay.
Marianne Cotton.
Cut that out.
Yeah,
Renee said that.
Marianne Robson was born in Halloween 1832 in Low Morsley County, Durham, in the North England.
Halloween, huh?
So just like the United States was kind of half, like the North was more industrial and the South was more agricultural, it's similar in England.
Sure.
Like it's during the Industrial Revolution, and all of a sudden they're doing like all kinds of factory type work and mining and stuff like that. When she was 9, her father, who was a coal mine sinker, who they dig the holes,
Okay.
he fell 150 feet and he died.
Great at his job. Sorry.
And this is really bad news if you're a woman or a child back then, because women didn't really work, and everything belongs not just to him, but to the mine that he works for. So the housing is provided by the mine. The food is provided by the mine. So if
Yeah,
he's
that
no
makes
longer mining,
So the whole family got shafted.
yes, exactly. How long did you knew that you were going to use shafted sometime,
just-
didn't you?
I'm usually sitting on one.
Here I
So
was like trying to think of what kind of like miner's joke.
Yeah.
it's almost akin to like slavery in a way, or like indentured servitude.
I
Sure.
think
where-
it was probably more indentured servitude.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, when he died, when they shipped his body back home, it said property of the South Hetton mine on.
That might have
Okay.
been to cover postage, though. They're like, listen, it's gonna seem rude when it shows up, but it's gonna save you a bunch.
Yeah.
This is gonna be like $8 to ship them to you, or we got it covered. As long as you don't mind our name across it.
Yeah.
Look at what good company we are. We ship your dead loved one home.
Yeah. Send the box back. That's all.
Yeah, seriously.
No return to sender.
Yeah, we got more miners to ship out. What is this? Wayfarer?
Yeah.
Ah!
This one actually came from the Amazon. So,
Okay, so her mother remarried 8 months later to a guy named George Stott, who was also a miner, but in a different town. So they moved to Merton. So back in these days, like if you were kind of in the lower class, you had to remarry quickly, whether you get a new wife or new husband, because it's like almost impossible to do anything by yourself. You can't watch your kids and work. You can't work and then leave
Yeah.
your kids. So it's like you had to move on quickly. But anyways, as soon as George
8 months
moved
back
in,
then. That's like dog years. You know, that's like 3 years.
yeah, true.
That's single for 2 seasons.
As soon as he moved in, she moved out because she didn't really like George.
But they were married?
No, I'm talking about Marianne. Her mom married George.
Oh, okay. I got
Yeah.
it.
She actually got a job as a nursemaid to a man who was like the manager of all the mines in Merton. And she worked with him for several years, but as his kids got to whatever age it is that they go to boarding school, he like ran out of kids, so she ran out of work. So she had to move back home with mom and George.
Ooh.
Yeah. And it was like kind of a tense situation.
Okay.
George was trying to send her to like learn dressmaking so that she could bring income to the household, but she was over that. So she just married like this guy who came around. His name was William Mowbray.
So marrying because they don't want to work, that's not a new phenomenon. So that's it's instinctual. Like, very smart Black Widows.
Yeah. So I think she was about 19 when she got married. And because she got pregnant before she got married, they had to do like a courthouse style wedding. And they didn't tell anyone. They just got married and then they moved to the south where there was some mines down there and just tried to like act like they'd been married for a while down there so no one would question.
I bet that happened.
Yeah,
constantly
it
back
did.
then.
So anyway, when they were down there, they had probably about 4 or 5 children. They're not sure because they
No
all
wonder she killed him. Stop it.
they all had like
It's coal dust in there.
died within about a month, and a lot of times
Oh.
they didn't record it until you were baptized. And you weren't baptized until like maybe 5 weeks into life or something like that.
Yeah, those are mulligans.
Yeah, it's like trying to get a fire started when it's raining. It
Okay, so
keeps smoldering out.
we don't know what happened to them. But their first recorded birth was Margaret Jane, who was born in 1856, and then she had another daughter, Isabella, 2 years later.
Okay.
But here's the thing, Margaret Jane died when she was 4 years old from gastric fever.
Oh, farted to death.
Yeah, shat yourself to death.
Down the mine shaft with Grandpa.
And then she had another son, John, and then he died when he was 1 year old of gastric fever.
Well, I do remember, and I don't even know what episode it was. It had been years ago that you were telling us that, because we were making jokes like, oh man, 15 years old, that was middle age.
Yeah.
But I remember you saying that actually if you made it past childhood,
Yeah.
you ended up having a pretty long life. Like an average life, what we are nowadays. So it's kind of like that's the difference, I suppose, that like vaccines and whatnot have done for us, that like, or at least modern medicine, is that you
Yeah.
have a little bit better chance to make it to teenage years.
Yeah, and well, here's the thing. So, in speaking of the death rates, infant death rates in England at this time for the working class is that 1 in 3 did not make it to their 3rd birthday.
That's crazy.
So that's a little over like 33%.
Yeah.
And then 1 in 5 didn't make it to their 10th from there on. So
Why
that's
even
like
name
another 20%. So yeah, it's relatively high, but once you got there,
terrible.
it was because you were considered robust, like you were able to like fight off,
Sure.
you know, all, because during the time too, what was common was like cholera, typhoid, typhus,
Oregon Trail.
smallpox,
diseases.
exactly,
Yeah.
all those diseases and several rounds of those.
Getting lost.
It's talking shit to Terrence, right?
Yeah.
Dysentery. So, no, but I mean, also, like, that was before they probably knew that we should boil our water before we drink it.
Yeah.
You know, and so.
And actually, during the Industrial Revolution, there was like a lot of advances in medicine at the time, but it
Yeah.
just wasn't enough to catch up with all of what was going on here. So in 1865,
It's a wonder she got so comfortable with the concept of death.
I think, I mean, it's
well,
just-
everybody did.
That's
So,
where, like, I don't think you're a serial killer at this point. I think
Yeah.
you're tired of people.
That's crazy to
Yeah.
think that,
So-
like, a third of babies did not make it to their third year.
Yeah.
That's,
Well,
that's horrible.
Heaven's crowded.
if like there was a household that got sick, sometimes a whole household could be wiped out. So it wasn't something that people like would bat an eye at if like a lot of people in your family died in a short amount of time.
It's good for the housing market.
It is. So in January of
You just made me
1865,
think that, like heaven is just a daycare right now. You just made me, like,
Dude, heaven's
outta
like
here.
heaven's like me walking around in China. Like I can see over everyone. It's just. Oh, I need to get some like soft shoes.
you're like, excuse me,
Yeah.
prickly bear baby.
Yeah, it's just
oh, another callback.
Just-
Prickly pear bear.
Yeah, prickly pear bear. So William, her husband of 12 years, died of an intestinal disorder. And so, but the difference
like
with
constipation or something.
yeah,
some-
and yeah,
One or the other, either too much or too little.
I just
So-
all like I always laugh at the gravestones. I just what they say. I told you I was sick.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
I
just
bought
like-
one that says that.
Yeah, it's just like your stomach hurts so bad that you
Yeah.
die. That's not even something like if you have a stomach ache, you go to bed.
Well, they
Nowadays.
said that, like, even when you think of like the pain scales, like let's say you get like at the top for like a female is giving birth,
Yeah,
that's the equivalent of a man with a tummy ache.
I know.
You know, so it's like that's where.
Saw a guy with 2 hangnails. I'm like, get him an epidural. Women don't feel pain the same. They're reptiles. So
Okay.
You drop a tail.
yeah, I watched it. It was fine.
Anyway, sorry.
So when he died, she cashed in a life insurance payout of £37, and her son Robert. She got £37 5 shillings, which is worth about $3,750 today.
Oh.
Which, yeah, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it was 6 months' wages for a minor. Half a year's wages.
Okay.
Minus
Enough time
the
to find a
husband.
new husband.
Yeah, enough time. Exactly.
Yeah. She's on Easy Street.
Well, to be fair, and I mean, not even joking, but to stay on track here, but like it was probably one of those like, I don't really know this guy that well, and he, you know, right?
Well, they were married for 12 years.
Oh, I suppose. Never mind. Yeah.
She probably knows all the.
Yeah, fair.
Cracks
maybe
and
she knew
holes.
too much.
Yeah.
But no, I was thinking like it's one of those. I'm sure that you have like that light go on. You're like,
Yeah.
wait a second, Easy Street.
Yeah.
Is there any thought that she killed him? Like
Not
looking-
at this time.
Okay.
And-
Even
and-
like she's such a bad cook, she accidentally.
Well, the fact that he
She
lived
was like,
12 years, he was probably a good husband for the most part. Because the thing is, if you marry like so many guys, there's a chance that some of them are going to suck.
Oh, good chance.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
anyway. And the other
The
thing with
gentle miner from the 1800s. Like,
the life insurance thing was through British Prudential, which was really common in mining areas because it was really cheap. It was like, you know, a couple pennies, you know, per month or something like that.
Sure.
So they're really pushing it on miners back then as a money making
their
scheme.
slogan was like, "You're gonna die.
Yeah.
Don't let your family starve."
Yeah. And exactly. And so it's like it was a good thing for them, and when people died it was not like unexpected at all, and having life insurance on a miner wasn't unexpected either, so it wasn't anything that you would raise an eyebrow at.
Sure.
So after he died, she moved to Seaham Harbor, and she made a connection with this guy named Joseph Natras, who was her lover.
On a mattress.
I know. I was
So-
thinking the same thing. mattress.
They didn't have them. It was hay. it was feathered, gross down. So
Gross down. Okay, so she wanted to marry him.
yeah, what's the thread count back then? 7.
Yeah.
It's just corn stalks.
Corn,
You
yeah,
know?
corn husks. She wanted to marry him, but he did not want to be a stepfather, so he was like, pass. And so,
I mean, I get it.
Yeah. It's just,
I mean, I don't know what to don't look at me.
listen,
I
this
get
one's all mined out.
so
All the ore's gone.
coincidentally, or not coincidentally, but her second child, who named Mary Jane, died at 3 years old of typhus.
This is terrible.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep making awful jokes if you don't mind. But this is
So now
terrible.
she has, from all those 9 kids she had with her first husband, she has one left, Isabella, who she sent to live with her mom and George.
She can't handle one.
No, she's got to get out there in the single scene, you know?
I mean, joking aside, though, it probably does make sense if it's one of those like another mouth to feed kind of thing, especially if you're struggling. Right?
Yeah.
Are we sure she didn't kill? All right.
So she then moved.
She's batting like 17% right
I know,
now.
she
This
is.
You'd be out of the AA minors. So
She moved to Sunderland, and she worked as a nurse, kind of a nurse assistant at this in Old Sunderland Infirmary. And then she met this man named George Ward, who was
a lot of Georges.
yeah,
In the ward?
George Ward.
yeah, in the infirmary ward, yeah.
Yeah.
So she and him really connected, and they got married like almost right away. She married him like 8 months after her husband died.
Okay, but that was the same with her mom.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But just over a year later, George died.
Something's starting to stink.
And
Something's rotten in Sunderland.
Was there an
Yeah.
insurance claim? on
yes,
it?
there was an insurance
Oh,
claim. And
This has got a little business going.
he was like kind of sickly, hence why he was in the hospital to begin with.
Oh, I suppose.
But the doctor was like,
This is like
well,
marrying Mr. Burns for all that money.
yeah. They recorded his death as the Blue Death, which is cholera, and typhus fever. And the doctors thought that that was a natural cause of death. The only thing is that the doctors were like, usually you don't die that fast, though, when you contract that. So it was a little fast. But again, you know, he was sick,
Yeah.
whatever.
Kind of
Yeah.
tracked.
Yeah, it tracked. So then a month later,
So that was her third?
that
Second marriage.
husband.
That was her second.
But
husband.
her third man, I guess, because Joseph
Okay.
wouldn't marry her.
Sure. Smart. He's alive.
A month later, she became a housekeeper and a nursemaid for a man named James Robertson, who is a shipwright. So now she's really marrying up because a shipwright is a shipbuilder, and they
Okay.
make more than a minor man
Well, I would
does.
assume if you can afford a house, a maid,
Yeah.
you could probably do it all right.
And he owned his own household, unlike the minor
Yeah.
husbands.
And honestly, just to get away from all that coal dust would be a godsend. And that,
Yeah, when you're making out and you're like,
well, just like there's
black
not,
lung.
you got to think like, what's the shower situation back then? It's just caked on them.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Isn't that just the bi-weekly river bath?
Yeah.
you just go nose blind, I think.
Like
after
you could see all the women that just had sex with a coal miner. You're like, oh, britches are all dark.
Black teeth.
It's like you ever have a dog into like raspberries or something like that.
You
It's
ever,
just
brush your
every,
teeth, you ever brush your teeth with
the charcoal.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
toothpaste?
yeah,
Yeah.
she's just
It's like that.
So he had recently lost his wife, very recently, and he had 5 children between 9 months old and 9 years old that needed to be taken care of.
I bet she's gonna take care of him.
Yeah. She saw that shipbuilding money.
Yeah.
She had horse blinders on.
And so within the first few weeks that she worked there, the 9-month-old baby died.
Of course she did.
And it's like he would probably be the most annoying to take care of because they're the neediest.
Yeah.
So within, like, when John died, and, you know, she was like, I got to comfort you because your wife died and, you know, he's had some kids die and now baby John died. And anyway, she ended up pregnant.
Okay. Sure.
You know, natural.
How? Let's just keep going. So, okay.
It's the grieving process, I guess.
Yeah.
And so they didn't move in, or she moved in right away when she got pregnant. but they didn't get married just yet. I can see you're chomping
got
at the
something.
bit.
No, I
here.
was just gonna say I'm sure that I didn't know doggy style was one of the stages of grief. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. Real ship to whore.
It's stage 8.
Yeah.
Okay, so she got word in March of 1867 that her mother was ill. She had some kind of like hepatitis. So she went back to Seaham Harbor where her mom was living, and before she left, she's like, "Oh, my mom will be dead soon. I'll be right back."
Oh no.
Yeah, she predicted that.
She Babe Ruthed it.
Honestly,
Yeah, exactly.
honestly, you get victimized by chance too much. You grab the wheel.
Yeah.
Like, I'm tired of waiting for these deaths.
Yeah.
So when she got
Not
there,
making this trip again. I'm here.
Yeah.
let's just end it now.
Well, it just sound. I mean, like seriously though, it does sound like like somebody who is not very patient and willing to deal with inconveniences.
Yeah,
You know, when you talk
exactly.
about like the elderly or the
Children.
or babies, you know,
Yeah.
like she's like, screw this. Like, if I need to wipe your ass, you're done.
Yeah, I agree. Here. So,
Okay, so when she got there, her mother was actually like on the mend. She was getting better. The doctors were like, "Oh, she's fully recovered." Well, as soon as Marianne got there, what do you know? She starts having really major stomach pains and cramping and diarrhea and all this
Sure.
stuff. But before her mom even died, she's like taking items from her mother's house and pawning them for cash.
that seems like Clue Town.
It's almost like she has like a opiate addiction or something, you know, like how she's
Sure.
like doing that. And then when her mother did die, which was 9 days after her arrival, she took everything
9 days?
9 days.
Okay.
She took everything that she could carry to pawn, but then she had to take Isabella with her, her daughter.
Okay.
But when she comes back to James, she can't say, "This is my daughter Isabella," because she had already told James that doesn't have kids.
This is right out of Disney.
Yeah.
It's like it's okay. So
Like-
keep going.
Okay.
How did James take? Well,
What I'm curious, what did her daughter think? Did her daughter
Yeah.
know? Because I know that I actually happen to know somebody whose parents are raising her kid as their child, like sent from infancy. You know, it's always like a big secret. So it's kind of like this weird thing to where this girl I know, her daughter is raised as her sister because she had her so young.
Yeah. No, she went to the grandparents when she was 7, and now
Oh,
she's
then
9.
yeah,
so
okay,
she
never-
hasn't
okay.
been at the grandparents
it's
for
2 years
two,
worth?
yeah,
So she
2
knows-
years.
okay.
this is
Yeah.
gonna be a hard secret to keep.
Yeah.
Should make her some stew.
Well, that's exactly what she did, because guess who was the first to die upon return?
She was keeping a secret. That's all that is.
Isabella.
That's terrible.
That's
Did they
so
know
macabre.
like
dark.
arsenic?
Yeah. So
Maybe.
Spoiler alert.
spoiler alert. Yes.
Oh, it's not a spoiler if it's a guess. I don't know. I'm just like,
Yeah, the thing is with arsenic is that you can poison over a long, long period of time, or you could just give a high dose and just get that done.
okay.
But the thing is that there was arsenic in everything.
Yeah,
It's almost like in
it's a-
Fight Club where they're like, it's
naturally
in
occurring.
soap, it's in cosmetics, it's in,
Sure.
all these different items that were used very regularly. So if it was arsenic, it doesn't necessarily mean that you poison them,
Right.
unless it was like a really high dose.
Concentrate. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because there was a case right before her of another woman who went to trial for using arsenic on her children. But what she did was that she was trying to save money, so she soaked like fly paper that had arsenic in it, so that the water would have arsenic in it, so she could scrub, because apparently it kills lice.
So she
And
wasn't
bedbugs?
trying to kill her
No,
kids?
she was just trying to get the cleaner so that she can get rid of the lice and the bed bugs.
Hmm.
But the children, I guess, like ingested it.
Oh,
So
that's sad.
yeah, so yeah, I mean, and those kinds of things did happen, especially with little kids. They open up things and
Sure.
do
Okay.
things. But anyways, so within 5 weeks of her return, not only was Isabella dead, but James Jr. and Elizabeth. So now James is down 3 of his 5 kids.
Okay. She's just crawling through them.
Yeah, she is. The one thing I thought was kind
I
of
bet she's real sweet after each one dies too.
yeah.
Just,
Comforting.
just
So when I thought this was interesting, when Isabella was sick, she actually like projectile vomited into Mary's face, and Mary got arsenic poisoned from the vomit, and she got really, really sick herself.
she's like, oh, this is what I've been doing to people.
Yeah, she's like, but she did collect on
That's terrible.
$5 or £5 for her daughter. which was the max for children because they thought that if they put like a higher number,
People would just kill the kids.
yeah, people would just kill their kids because it's
well,
easier than feeding them.
Yeah, it's
I
probably
guess.
one of those like you're worth more to be dead than you are. Alive.
Yeah.
So, but I'm kind of curious. Like 5 pounds. I mean, that's got to be like a couple $100.
So it's like $50. You could just take it times 10.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was an inflation rate.
That's crazy.
It's like a PS5 game. I mean, like what just came out.
Yeah. So eventually James did what any honorable gentleman would do, and they got married in August.
Well, she had his kid, right?
Yeah, well, she was pregnant still.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah,
And her daughter is
gone.
gone. Okay.
So this,
The 9-year-old is dead.
yeah.
right.
But the baby in her belly is not dead.
The baby in her belly is the only current living child at the moment.
Did her 9-year-old puke in her face?
Yeah.
I think she knew. It's like, taste of your own medicine, mother.
Yeah.
So,
Like, oh, that one almost got me.
yeah, James's family was like, hey, isn't it weird that since you've been around Marianne, like, this kid got sick and your kids have died and her mom died and stuff like that. But he was so smitten that he did literally have the blinders on. I mean, he would defend her honor to the death.
Do we have
He
a
would-
picture of this woman? Like,
We'll
Yeah,
put her up.
she's
she's a looker.
Is
yeah.
No.
I mean, she looks like every lady during Victorian
Yeah, like
era
this.
that married coal miners.
She do some mattress
Just that
tricks.
toad-faced woman, you know.
Maybe she's a doubt,
Honestly, that whole graph, like the crazier,
Yeah, but she's super crazy and she's not that great looking.
right. So like, would it be weird if she was into killing her kids but not into anal?
Thoughts that have never crossed my mind, I can tell you.
And anal back then, that's a different mine shaft. That's terrible.
So he suspected that not that she was directly responsible, but maybe she was being irresponsible, which caused the death of the children.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to dwell on the matter.
Wouldn't that be worse? It's like,
It would be, but I think that because so many people died back then, you can't just sit there and hang on to like grief. You just like have to keep going to work, keep doing what you're doing.
ugh. Okay.
So when her baby was born, she named him George.
Aw.
I know. Maybe from her last husband.
Right.
I don't know. But anyways,
The king.
Wait, was it George, her stepdad's name?
yeah, but it was also her second husband's
Oh, I
name.
suppose.
And honestly, why bother thinking of names back then?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like George, William, John.
Yeah.
You got it.
You're John the Third, and it's not because of your uncles. It's
Okay, so
we're gonna have a John make it a 20.
So all along, his family had been pressuring him to not be with her. And he kept on even through all this stuff. But what really stopped him in his tracks is that he found out, because she was in charge of paying the bills and everything,
Sure.
he found out that she had racked 60 pounds in debt. And then she had stolen another 50 pounds. And he had to repay that.
Oh, and who'd she steal it from?
So like the union, the shipwright union that he
okay.
had, you could like take out credit, but
Okay.
whatever, she took it from like the people that he worked with.
Oh, I see.
And I'll pay you back, but then never did.
Okay.
So yeah, so he owes a lot of money now. I mean, that's a significant sum considering a minor might only make 60 pounds in a year.
Yeah.
And she's got 110. Around the same time, he was confronted by his remaining 2 children.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
Is there any suspicion of her by the police at this point?
No, absolutely not.
Or even the insurance company being
No.
like, anyone over 5 claims?
No, because
sure.
children died so frequently that it was kind of like, the thing is, all the death certificates had a logical cause of death.
Yeah.
So as long as you brought that
She
death
wasn't hacking
certificate,
people up with an axe.
yeah,
So,
Okay.
yeah, as long as you brought a death certificate with like something that made sense, they're like, okay, yeah, we'll pay out.
Like, man, you're a shitty cook. Okay.
And also, she did move around a lot, like with every husband. She moved around. So the insurance records were only kept in that town that she lived in.
Oh,
So
okay.
You couldn't Google someone's name back then.
Yeah.
let's just say.
For what it's worth, that is something that I feel like we're losing an expectation of the idea that everything was compartmentalized
Yeah.
to offices back then. There wasn't like a main hub. Like
No.
everything we experience now is updated.
Yeah.
So,
And also because her last name has changed with
Yeah.
every husband.
sure.
So-
and Marianne's probably a
Yeah.
zillion. That's
A dime a dozen.
Jessica.
A dime a
Yeah,
dozen.
yeah.
So she so his remaining 2 children told the father that, when you're not here, she takes stuff and pawns it. And I mean, she was pawning furniture, which I was like, hey, how can he come home and be like, nice bed? If it used to be right there, but now where do I sleep?
Yeah.
I don't know how she was doing that and he didn't notice, but anyways. So he had gotten fed up more between the pawning of the stuff and the debt that he was putting the end to the relationship.
It's funny to me. It's like, I'm over the pawning of my stuff. Yeah. Death of my kids, whatever. Yeah. I have more stuff to use, but like.
Well, yeah, when she hit him in the pocketbook, I think that,
Yeah.
And he went from being relatively upper middle class to like low class because she literally cleaned him out. And actually, when he was like telling her that she has to leave, she actually cleaned out his bank account.
I'm kind of curious though, like what was she spending it on?
That is a good question. So,
because I mean, it's like
arsenic.
Yeah.
Keep her stocks full.
Fair enough. Yeah. But seriously though, we're like, with situations like this, it's usually drugs or gambling or something
they
like that.
suspected gambling, but that's not something that could be proven.
Or
But
even like retail therapy, to where she's buying a bunch of stuff and just, it's not like her garage was filled with things from TJ Maxx. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, so what I'm saying is where was all this money going?
Yeah, and that's the thing. So like when the book said that, historians were trying to figure out where did this money go? Was she like socking it away somewhere, sending it out? People said that she had a gambling addiction, but that was something that no one could prove, not even back then. So it's like, where did that money go? That's a good question. But she also, when she left, she took baby George with her. And I think the only reason she took George is to get James upset.
I was gonna say that's like a savings bond of $50.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
and I think too is that, can you imagine the horror that James had when this baby's gone and what she does with children? They just disappear. Yeah. So that must have been horrifying. But so actually, less than 6 months after she left, she stopped by a friend's house to visit. She said, hey, can you watch baby George while I go to the post office quick? And they're like, sure. She never came back.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's your baby now.
Yeah.
She went out for a pack of smokes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so the boy was returned to his father. And since all of his children ended up dying from Mary, like he did have George now. That was his child.
What a nightmare.
Yeah.
So he had 5 when she showed up.
Yep. And he had 2 that died previous to that. So he had 5, 6, 7, 8 children.
That's weird. He didn't kill her. Like, maybe
well,
that's
if
different.
he'd probably, like, I would assume that since he'd already had 2, children die before he even met her, he probably wasn't like, everything was going swell until I met Mary.
Yeah.
But I mean, just after the fact, and it all falls apart, she fucking robs him, and he's a ship maker. He should have turned her into one of those masked mermaids. Just roped her to that fucking. Where'd you get this skeleton, Bill? Like,
but she was small-breasted, so it didn't work out.
Clamshells.
just stuff the clamshells.
Yeah. So she was back to, after, George, she doesn't have any money. She's out of money. She's destitute, living on the streets. And it just so happened that her friend that she worked with when she was a nursemaid for the manager at the mines, she sent her a letter and said, oh, I heard that, you're by yourself again. Do you want to come visit me and stay for a while? Which she's like, okay, because she needs that. But at the same time, in the same letter, she says, my poor brother, Frederick Cotton, his wife died and left him all alone with these children that he needs help with.
She's like, I'm great with kids.
Yeah.
I'll take care of it.
Yeah. So she did. She moved. And then her friend died within 2 months of intestinal problems.
I'm just picturing the principal from Matilda's school at this point.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, what it actually kind of reminds me of so far is what's her name from Minnesota, the giant Nordic woman?
Oh, yeah, Belle Gunness.
Yeah. I knew that you knew that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, just consider the fact
that too.
Yeah.
Like all things Viking for you in Minnesota.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Is that your superhero? Like little Minnesota girls like grew up wanting to be like bell gunners.
Kill their husbands and callers.
No, but I.
Who was your hero?
I didn't have one. Sorry.
Yikes.
I know.
It's bleak.
Yes. So bleak.
All right.
Have you heard of this Marianne Cotton?
Yeah,
she's pretty ambitious.
Marianne Cotton.
Okay, so
Setting up franchises.
Yeah.
her friend Margaret Cotton died of gastric fever within 2 months. Then she was trying to nurse Frederick with his depression.
Mm-hmm.
Literally and figuratively, maybe.
Yeah.
But anyways, she started working as a maid in a local doctor's house, but she was fired almost immediately because she kept stealing stuff from them and pawning it.
She's a tornado. I like
She
her.
is.
Like she's such a train wreck at this point.
Yeah.
So she comes back to Frederick.
Seems like so compulsive. Too.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
no, you know, oh, how will this affect me maybe tomorrow?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sure.
Exactly.
Like just done. You know, I want it done.
Yeah.
It does
Instant
seem-
gratification.
It does seem like drugs, where the money was going, or gambling or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's nowadays. You know,
But
it's like,
even
I'm-
so, that's still impulsive behavior.
Or she's just throwing the money in the river. Just
yeah,
a true
it's like
crazy
the
bitch.
Joker. It's not about the money.
It's about the death. Yeah, we never thought she just liked it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, actually with female poisoners is that sometimes it really isn't about the money. It's more about
Love of the
the
game.
sadism. Yeah,
Yeah.
the love of the game. So she goes back to Frederick's house and she's like, you know, when we were messing around a month ago, well, I'm pregnant and I don't have anywhere to go. And he
Jeez.
was like,
You
okay.
can't sneeze around this lady without getting 2 kids that aren't going to make
I know,
it.
she's very fertile. So he, you know, does what the gentlemanly thing do, and he marries
it down the
her.
stairs.
Yeah. No. But
Poisons her with arsenic. She's like,
actually,
Et tu, Brute?
she was having an affair with the stable boy at the doctor's house, so they thought that the baby was actually the stable boy's baby.
Horseplay.
Yeah.
putting one away wet.
Yeah. So, but in any event, he didn't care or he didn't know, but he married her.
Yeah.
And then-
Maury wasn't around back then.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Sir Morgan.
And then she insisted that when they got married that they move because she found out that Joseph Mattress his wife had died and he's single
Wait,
again.
Crazy Joe's Mattress Warehouse.
Yeah, Crazy Joe's Mattress Warehouse. So they moved so that he didn't know that, but she can now be with Joseph.
She's angling.
Yeah, a
Okay.
side dish of Joseph
It's
now
called
and then.
cushioning, actually.
Oh.
I think it's where the concept of cushioning that women do, I've heard, is that they've got their side guy, you know, like
Is
ready
that-
to catch them when they fall.
I've heard that isn't it like 70% of women have like, if this doesn't work out, they have
yeah.
a secondary
Yeah,
just
I've
mental
read that
plan.
too.
That feels
Yeah.
like a very made-up statistic. I
They-
think that's
It isn't.
men.
Jake,
Why
there
would
you go for
guy-
YouTube,
No, it's
YouTube
men.
viewers.
Why would guys make that up? Just
Yeah.
to hurt our feelings?
Yeah.
You guys are planners. That's fine. She's not.
No, obviously
She's
she's
a
not.
guy.
She thinks like a man, okay?
Yeah, she does.
So Robert Cotton was born in early 1871, and Frederick died that September of typhoid.
Yeah, okay.
So literally, like he died on like their first anniversary, wedding anniversary. So I guess he won't be getting her paper or tin or whatever it is that you get.
Wood box.
Yeah.
First anniversary.
It's wood. So the neighbors actually, even though they didn't know them that well, they basically just hated her guts because they saw the way that she treated Frederick and, you know, just everything. They just didn't like her. But when he died and she was acting like the grieving widow so good that they felt so bad for her that they did like a GoFundMe and like raised a ton of money
Okay.
to give to her.
Back then, it would have been like GoFundMe.
Yeah.
She must have had some charisma.
She did. Yeah.
She had
Like-
the Riz.
Yeah.
She was
Like-
convincing.
Like, because
She said, my husbands keep dying, no cap.
yeah. Or maybe it was like, I need help moving out of town. They're like, oh, we'll help you. Yeah,
Oh,
let's
yeah.
get a fucking bake sale going and get rid of this crazy broad.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't know that she had a life insurance on him either because she was like, I don't have life insurance, but she collected the life insurance.
Well, I think another scam too that not her in general, but I know that like back then, like they would just take out life insurance policies from different companies on the same person.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
could
'cause-
like, you could
'Cause,
pile them.
Yeah, you could like basically like quadruple dip. and to where it's like
Oh yeah,
because
true.
it's not like there was like some database.
Yeah, it goes back to that.
Yeah.
And it's not like you can.
Oh, we
track
punched
that
in
stuff.
your social security number. It turns out you
Yeah.
have them insured all these other
Yeah,
places.
I told you, you always got to look people up.
Yeah.
That's why my favorite dating app is CCAP.
You don't get to pick your profile picture on that one. They pick for you.
Your profile pictures this year, holding up your inmate card.
Yeah.
But pretty soon after a while,
Dude,
you're
they
like,
should do that on dating apps. It should be like a
link.
filter-proof pictures. Good lighting. So you can't contour shit.
Yeah.
okay.
Sorry.
So, and the company that they had rented their home from felt so awful that they let her live there rent-free.
Ooh.
So she's just, well into the
She got the
green.
Riz.
Yeah. Okay.
Totally. And in that rent-free house, she took on 3 boarders.
So she's
Okay.
money making money.
Yes.
Yeah. She's
She
probably
is.
more scary than Riz at this point.
Well,
She-
one of her boarders was Joseph Mattress.
Hi.
Yeah.
It's like,
Good. She must have knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
And
Dude.
this is like years apart. And Joseph Mattress, I remember.
This is like the epitome of contingency plan.
yeah.
And
she was even making more money because she also got a job as a nurse to this recovering smallpox patient named Richard Quick Manning.
That's stupid.
Such a stupid name. Dick Quick.
Dick Quick Manning.
that was my nickname, unfortunately.
Dude, that should have been. Dude, Quick Manning should have been her last name.
Manning Quick Dick.
Yeah.
That's me.
So now she has 2 lovers at the same time.
Hell yeah. Good for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
This
so
is,
That's
but this-
empowering. I guess.
I mean, it's interesting to know that the Eiffel Tower was also in England at the time.
Yep.
yeah, unlike the Eiffel Tower,
They were making the Eiffel Tower in that boarding room.
Yeah.
they based it off of the story.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I think it was more of a London Bridge.
Falling down.
Okay. So in March, Fred Cotton Jr. and Robert, who was only 13 months, died. So she collected on both of them, and now she has no children that she needs to watch over.
So what's her body count?
I mean, which one?
Exactly. Like, you think they're like, ah! It's like the Yankees and the Red Sox wins. Just-
I mean, honestly, you've heard that phrase though, they will know us by our trail of dead. I mean, I'm not even trying to be funny there, but that's it. We should tally this up.
I did
You
tally
have
it.
Yeah, okay.
I did tally
don't-
it.
Okay, I'll shut up.
Okay. And then less than a week later, on April 1st, Joseph, the mattress, died of gastric fever.
Yeah, she's
In
good
fact,
bed.
it was so soon that when he died, baby Robert was in the room when he died, like dead baby Robert, waiting to get buried.
Twofer.
Yeah. And the reason
Benny walking. Is that you or?
I can't tell.
I'm not buying two.
We need some
caskets
arsenic soap and clean this place out,
You're in gastric distress. I'm in nasal distress.
Yeah.
You crack a window,
which is way
Jesus.
worse.
Yeah. Open in London's worse too. Like,
Here. Oh, shut the window.
yeah.
And the interesting thing about Joseph Mattress, right? So he would never marry her. But right before he died, like within 2 weeks, she had gotten him to change the beneficiary from his wife who died because she's not able to be a beneficiary anymore to her. And bada bing, bada boom.
That is the
Gastric
swan
fever.
song though
She's
for
great
your
in bed.
life. Well,
Yeah.
no, I'm being serious.
Yeah.
That is it seems like as soon as she's able to
Get the dot.
Yep.
T's
Yeah.
and I's.
Yep.
Man, who was the shipmaker guy? What was his name?
The shipwright.
James Robinson.
He's got to feel like Bruce Willis in Unbreakable after that train wreck. Where he's just everyone around him's dead, but he's like,
Okay, I misspoke. She still has one child to take care of, which is Frederick's last child, which was Charles.
Oh, and I suppose also George Jr.
George. But
yeah.
George is with the father.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So she does
Oh,
still
okay.
have some remaining kids.
So in the town that she was currently in, there was a man named Thomas Riley who was like the local grocer, but he also had
real stupid name.
What the?
I know, he even spells
Thomas?
it weird. But anyways, so he held a lot of jobs, and he also ran the local workhouse. And a workhouse back then is almost like a prison. They only gave you enough just food to keep you alive.
Like a
Sounds like
chain
Walmart.
gang almost. or
Yeah.
something.
Like Walmart. Sure, you can spend your money here.
Right.
Get your paycheck here.
If you didn't pay your debt, for instance, you could be sentenced to go to the workhouse to work off debt.
Oof.
But it was basically just to get by. And they made it as horrible as possible because they didn't want people to use it as like relief, you know. So she told him, you know, hey, can you take Charles to the workhouse and, you know, make use of him? He was like maybe 12 years old. And he's like, well, he can only go to the workhouse if you go to the workhouse because children can't go by themselves. But she doesn't want to go to the workhouse.
No.
And so she's like, well, I have a boarder and he won't let, you know, rent from me if I have Charles there. And Riley was like, nope. And then she's like, well, I got this job as a nurse and I can't work and have the child. And he was like, nope.
Looks are failing.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, I'm engaged to be married and I can't. And he was like, definitely not.
From the back? Nope.
Yeah, exactly. So when she left, she said, well, it won't be long then because he'll go like the rest because he's sickly.
Oh, shit.
And then Thomas was like, no, he's actually in really good health. That's what he said to her.
He hit her again with a truck. Wrong.
Yeah. So she went and acquired life insurance for Charles. And 5 days after talking to Riley, he was dead.
Okay.
Gastric fever.
Wow.
This is like, there's no one on her tail. I guess no one's
Well,
looking.
actually, Thomas Riley's on her tail now.
All right. Thomas is, all right. He's on it.
Yep, he is. So, you know, he was convinced that she did something to him because he was so healthy 5 days ago and now he's dead.
Also, like, her saying is so ominous. Like,
But she's,
"Oh,
yeah.
he's not long for this world."
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's doing great.
It's like Saturday morning evil cartoon guy.
Yeah.
It's like, enjoy your weekend.
oh,
So
God,
while-
Yeah.
how can I?
Yeah.
She was quickly selling off everything because she wants to move again. I mean, she was literally even selling the sheets off the bed. Ew, used sheets.
Well, you know,
I mean, back then, he probably.
everything was evil.
It's like, what about that stain right there? Can I get a discount?
Yeah.
Okay. So he contacted.
Shark Week.
Yeah.
Peroxide takes that out, ladies, just in case you didn't know.
It's like
if
my
you,
child had the gastric fever on that, so it's a little messy.
Yeah. If you're a little ketchup packet, leaky ketchup packet, just put a little bit of peroxide on the sheets, and that'll get the blood right out.
Wow.
Only
Don't
one,
remember those things.
Only one child's died on these sheets. It's practically new. So,
Okay. So when he finally got the authorities to listen to him, they had already buried Charles, but the coroner had actually kept the stomach contents.
sure.
So they tested the stomach
Is that
contents.
usual, by the way?
No.
Okay, so why did there had to
You
been
know
a
what?
hunch,
He
right?
had a hunch.
He
but,
had a kink.
Yeah.
but he wasn't. No, hey,
Hey, buddy. It was Marianne Cotton.
another one bites the dust. Okay, so
For listeners, Jake just killed a spider.
There's an uninvited guest. We don't let streakers on this podcast.
Well, plural. I'm the only one streaker. Me. It's in
Okay.
my undies.
so he tested
I
this.
heard the Black Widow's on this one.
I thought I was the Black Widow.
I'm your biggest fan. I killed all my kids. My comeuppance.
I was just going to tell you a story. Okay, so they tested the stomach contents and it came up for high levels of arsenic. So remember when I said that you could do it over a long period of time? And that
Sure.
would be less detectable because there is arsenic in all kinds of household items. But because it was such a high
Like in
dose
the stomach.
in the stomach
So, yeah.
contents. So they decided to exhume Charles and then test, other parts
his
of
stomach too.
They go up
Yeah.
to Charles' graves, like all the flowers and grass are dead. On it, like this one.
Yeah. So then, what they proved that or whatever, but Thomas wasn't done. He was like, well, why don't we exhume Fred Jr. and baby Robert too? Because they're all the other deaths that happened in that town. And Joseph,
Fred, and
the
Bob.
mattress guy. So
And
they
English names suck. It's like Grimace, the claymation
Yeah.
stuff. All right.
So they exhumed all of them and they all had really high doses of arsenic, which is why they died so fast.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, when they did Charles' exhumation, they did the autopsy on her kitchen table, which also was unusual, but I guess they're trying to torture her a little bit.
I mean, how
I
long?
like that move though.
Yeah.
That's
like-
kind of, but that is kind of weird though, right?
Kind of sounds like a Poe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Poe. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Telltale stomach contents.
they held the
Telltale
inquest.
fart. Gastric distress.
Damn it! All right, take two. Telltale fart. That was me. I came up with that joke, listeners.
They held the inquest after
Telltale
Charles,
shark.
and she said, "Oh, I tried to help him. I actually bought arrowroot from the pharmacy and everything, and it didn't work."
She should have played dumb. She'd be like, "No, you give them arsenic if their tummy hurts." Right?
Dig up.
It's not illegal to be stupid.
Especially if you're a woman, right?
I did all this? I thought I had bad luck.
So yeah, after that they pulled all those bodies out, they decided to arrest her. So 6 days after Charles died, Mary was arrested.
Should have fed her the stomach.
They were gonna go to trial immediately. Unfortunately, they delayed it because she was pregnant
God damn.
again.
Fertile Myrtle.
Old baby shield.
Yeah.
So you wonder, who's the baby daddy? Well,
Stable boy. The horse this time.
Probably the guard. So,
no, it was Richard Quick Manning.
Hell yeah.
he quickly manned her.
Yes. And they were actually engaged when she got arrested.
Dumb.
Yeah.
Dumb.
But I think it was because he was so sick that she could probably kill him off too pretty quickly, and no one would bat an eye because they're like, oh, he had smallpox anyway.
Get it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
I
guess even in death, men can be like, hold on,
Yeah.
I can still do it.
Hell yeah.
It's good
I mean, think
moves.
about it. I mean, if you break your back, the swan song to spinal injury is usually a massive erection. The priapism.
That's true.
And you know this
Because of battlefield trauma, like some of the things that they talk about, like if you have a spinal injury and you break your back and you have an erection, but the other thing that
it's original Blue Chew.
or another one that we get threatened with too, if you have a spinal injury, is that they stick your finger up their ass, and if there's no tension, then they have a spinal injury.
Wow.
I actually
There you go.
remember
Follow
being
me for more
told
butthole tax.
I remember being told that it was you break your back, the erection is the last gasp of your body to try to procreate.
Yeah.
Because it understands it's dying.
So like, quick, somebody get
Yeah.
here now.
Come on, baby.
It's my last chance.
Yeah.
It's like having a party as the world ends. It's like Burning Man.
So in January, she gave birth to her daughter, which she named Margaret Edith Quick Manning Cotton.
They're like, oh, it's a woman? Hang them both. Don't cut the cord. Just, whack, whack.
And then
Like Russian dolls.
Another one.
her trial began 2 months later, and she was initially tried for all of the murders, but in their law, you can only try one murder at a time. And even if the murders are similar, like they're all poison, it's inadmissible to bring up any other murder in the,
That is kind
in
of
a murder.
odd.
It is odd because it's like, obviously,
There's a habit here.
yeah. But at the time, that was the law.
Fair enough.
So the prosecution brought up that, he was full of arsenic.
I wonder if that's why terms like serial killer weren't coined until later.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't a legal term for it. Like a multiple person killer.
Yeah.
Maybe it was like a war crime almost or something. Anyways.
It's only a war crime the first time. Wait, it's not a war crime the first time. That's what
I mean, okay. And the fact that she predicted Charles's death to Thomas Riley, she was like, oh, he's going to die soon. 5 days later,
Yeah.
he went from being, well to being
I'm sure
dead.
she probably wishes that Mr. T. Riley would have gotten some gastric fever too.
I know. She's like, hey, would you like a cup of tea? So
He's probably his own cook.
Yeah.
That's all it was. I got it.
So in her defense, she said that he inhaled like the dye to like green wallpaper that they had at their house, which is full of arsenic. Like he was huffing the dye. And
Sure.
then if it wasn't huffing the dye, it's because when she went to the pharmacist to get
Those
bismuth
12-year-old
powder,
boys are always huffing stuff.
yeah, they are. When she went to go get bismuth powder to ease the diarrhea, that the pharmacist was so busy that he accidentally put a bottle of arsenic instead of the powder. So the pharmacist actually killed the child.
See?
But nobody.
I would say, like, what I would probably, if I was her lawyer, I would have been like, listen, she also came down with arsenic poisoning, remember?
Yeah.
When her
Yeah.
daughter puked in her face.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd been like, hey, she also, like, this is just a naturally occurring thing, I would have at least said that.
Also, they didn't really think that women were capable of premeditated murder. So they're like, she's a woman. She can't use thoughts ahead
don't
of
poop
time.
either.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the women in the court were like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just keep dying at 43 husbands and they were capable of life insurance policies,
Yeah.
but not murder. That's why they didn't.
We just have to make our mark,
"This is-"
okay?
Yeah, guy at the insurance company, like, this is getting kind of suspicious, but like, yeah, but women can't kill people.
Yeah,
you know
true.
this, right?
True.
So Keep paying her.
So after a short deliberation, she was found guilty of murder of Charles, and the judge sentenced her to death by hanging. And when
Nice.
it was read, she screamed, which was unusual because it said, after the conviction, the wretched woman exhibited strong emotion, but in a few hours this gave way to her habitual cold and reserved demeanor. While she harbors a strong conviction that royal clemency will be extended towards her, she staunchly asserts her innocence of the crime she's been convicted of. And the royal clemency that she was thinking she was going to get is that if you had recently given birth, or in this case she was nursing, that there's no way that they would hang her because that would be like cruel and unusual. So she just assumed that she was going to get the clemency. I guess Queen Victoria was like maybe a smidge perturbed about all the kids that were in.
And then she found out there was a queen in charge. She's like, oh.
Yeah. And she's like, hey, I've had a lot of kids too.
Yeah. Her plan was to fuck the king. She didn't understand what royal clemency was. It sounds hot.
Yeah. So they had as her executioner William Calcraft. And he was known as the clumsy executioner.
Like the Far Side executioner.
Mr. Magoo.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Dude, he fucking pulls the lever and the trapdoor next to you opens. And he's like, ah.
He just goes behead you with just one of those squeaky hammers.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. My kids were mucking about.
Well,
The kid's head's cut off over there. Oh! Clumsy Gene strikes again.
well, usually a hangman, you would have a long drop and a short stop.
Yeah.
Well, he favored the short drop, which means that you only fell about like a foot to 3 feet.
No drops. It's just David Carradine.
Well, no.
It was a full David Carradine.
Well, actually, I've heard that that there is a science to like hanging, because either one, you sit there and just kind of like you suffocate to death. The idea is for you to like the whip snap and like break your neck.
That's why like the knot has to be like in a certain spot.
But they will literally, you either you'll sit there and just like wiggle around for 2 minutes, or it'll literally pop your head off.
Yeah, Pez dispenser.
Like if you're,
yes, it can pop your head off.
No, they will they have to take into account your weight and then the length of the rope and the drop and all that too.
Imagine asking her, how much do you weigh, ma'am? And don't
She's like,
lie.
110.
All right, looks like you're going to dangle. Oh, wait, no. Your head's going to get ripped off like Predator.
It's going to look like a Gallagher show.
Yeah. Dandelion.
Well, it's interesting
Or
because
the clumsy guy doesn't tie the top, just a pile of
Slip knot.
Oh, sorry,
Like,
love. Come on up.
we got to redo it. Okay, so anything that the almost deceased person is wearing belongs to the hangman. So a lot of hangmen don't want their heads to come off because they would own the clothes and they could turn around and sell the clothes and the shoes and things.
That's my button.
But he did the short drop so because it's less bloody. So she was writhing around for a while, like
fucker.
strangulating. And then after she still didn't die, he like pushed down on her shoulder.
Like Mel Brooks.
Yes. Pushed down.
Sorry about this.
Don't be puking on my brooch.
Apologies, madam.
Renee's dead.
I can't even run away to pee if I wanted to.
This picture, he's got
man.
like the black hood, and his eye holes
Some of
keep
my
getting
proudest
messed up.
moments is making Renee pee her pants on the podcast.
Okay, stop. Okay.
This is why you don't lie about your weight, ma'am. You'd be with the Lord now. But instead, you got me pushing on your bosom.
It's like, do you want to be with the Lord now or in 5 minutes?
Yeah. When I said pounds, I wasn't talking about your weight. I was talking about the money I'm going to get.
Oh, looks like little gastric distress.
Okay.
The clumsy hangman. There can't be a clumsy hangman. This is
I don't know.
be like no one else wants the job.
Like-
So Bill,
I'm just picturing him like leaning, not like all his weight on her, and he's looking up at the camera that's not there. Whoa!
yeah,
Who would have?
he locks eyes. Ow. Some kid comes up, starts pushing on her too. Like get the whole class up here.
Kids are
Yeah,
hanging from
hanging on her feet. Dude, it's just like Matilda when they attack her at the end.
Did you watch Matilda recently?
Yeah. I love it. Matilda's a great movie. Danny DeVito directed it. It's like the Chokey lady. That's what I see. Just
All of her kids look like that fat kid with the chocolate.
yeah. Get her
like
neck's too
puking up.
thick. It just slides off her head like a dog collar when you pull too hard. She's free.
Maybe he's
Alright.
the budget one because she's a woman or something. I don't know. But anyways,
Don't use the good hangman.
okay, so 3 minutes after, him holding her,
3
she died.
minutes.
Yeah, it really made it go a lot faster. So the only people to survive her is her son, George, who lived with James, and then Margaret, the girl that she just gave birth to. And then the only husband was James
I'm just
because
still
he kicked
picturing
her
the-
out.
I'm still picturing like the bungee
Yes.
umbilical cord. Like,
Into a bassinet.
Okay. I have the total tally of the body count.
Let's take a guess. I'm going to say 28.
oh,
It might be high.
I'll say 22.
I got a little-
I'll say 19.
Okay. So it was 11 of her children, 7 stepchildren, 3 husbands, 1 lover, 1 best friend, 1 mother,
26?
24.
God dang.
24.
Yeah,
We
24.
split the difference there.
Yeah, you did. You guys really did.
Interesting.
That's a
And that's-
high
that's-
body count.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. So
Do you think it's higher than her body count?
Probably. Well, no.
no.
Dude, all those kids, man, that's like a lot of kids.
that is a lot.
She's a
So
pumping dump.
any question about her,
getting
like,
cotton mouth.
just having bad luck? I mean, that's a lot of, 24 is a lot for bad luck.
Black Widow is a good name, but Cottonmouth is a better name. I just don't think they have that snake there. Like, if you did this in the South,
But
tell
they-
for the Cottonmouth.
But they do have cottonwood.
Cottonwood snakes? Are they
No,
poison?
trees.
No, I'm saying the snake here is poisonous, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, like what a terrifying situation. And also, like, think about the few people that interacted with her that came. That you have to be like, I came that close. Like,
Yeah.
The
I'm
ship
sure
guy.
that a few people were like, I did kind of shit my brains out for a little bit around.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
things, or I was pretty ill. Like
I just wish the ship guy would have killed her. Like, just after years, and maybe he realized, like she fucking did this. And then,
Yeah.
Can we talk about the real hero of the story, Mr. Riley?
yeah, he was. It seemed like the first smart guy she came across. It really, the first guy that wasn't like just, this lady reminds. You ever see the couple that walks around every city arguing with each other on bridges in between meth binges? Like, that's what I feel like this is. Like, just,
Are you talking about me and my girlfriend?
yeah, where one walks away from other one fast, and that one says something, turns around, starts yelling back at her. You just drive by like, Jesus Christ.
The one thing I did forget to say, and speaking of Tom Riley, is that when he was testifying against her in court, she said, well, he's only testifying against me because he was hitting on me and I turned him down.
I was gonna say he's trying to get up in my guts.
I
Yeah.
thought it'd be like, he's only angry because he has a small dick.
Yeah.
It's just,
Hey, that's just a Riley thing. Okay?
yeah.
Make that
Astute-
into magnets now and t-shirts.
Clear vision, suspicious, tiny penis. It's on their family crest.
But maybe that's what saved him.
Yeah.
Dude, the Riley family crest literally is the severed hand.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting.
You don't need it.
This is a severed dick now.
Yeah.
Mine's a PlayStation controller in an episode of The Simpsons. My family crest.
That's the one you've revamped it.
Yeah.
No, they're like what a horrific, terrifying, like cold woman.
Kind of a
Because
yeah.
it's like it's one of those things where I mean I don't want to like whatever, but I think killing your own kids is way more gnarly than
It
killing
is.
like
Yeah.
A
'cause I
husband
could-
or
I could-
something.
Yeah, I mean, I could see like, oh, these fucking stepkids, like,
Yeah.
I don't want to
Yeah.
deal with this 9-month-old baby, of this dude I'm banging.
It's like the one thing Darth Vader wouldn't do.
Yeah.
Everyone else, fuck 'em.
Yeah, but it's like that's so crazy to like just and the other thing too is like I guess you could almost like chalk up like well the 9-month-old like dude a 9-year-old like her 9-year-old just out of the sheer inconvenience of like well you're gonna expose my lie I said I didn't have any kids and you're gonna fuck that up for me.
To be fair, it was a British kid, which you've heard him.
There is actually pictures of her with the 5 stepchildren, and she's
Oh,
like
man.
smiling, and they're all like,
Well, that's I mean that's you should put that up for
Yeah, I'll see.
for YouTube viewers.
Yeah, I'll put it
or
up.
something. Like why don't you put a couple collages
Yeah.
and stuff like that too? So
I will say what it makes me think of is, you know how people are like, actually in the past it wasn't this bad. We always make fun of, you know, it's like actually
Yeah.
they live longer, and there's all these like, oh, maybe we're misremembering the past. And then you hear a story like this and you're like, God,
No.
a reflection of the society where this wasn't sniffed out sooner, just the acceptance of child death is such a wild
Yeah.
concept.
Well,
Just
yeah, and just like I mean, because you have to think at some point, like she was just viewing people as like a
Dollar sign or
yeah,
pound
that
sign.
No,
too.
like
Yeah.
like a Looney Tunes
Yeah.
commercial or a cartoon
Yeah.
where it's just you're just a bag of like with a dollar sign
Yeah.
on it, you know, like a bag of money.
it would be interesting to me too. This sounds like someone who I would love to have seen the brain studied to see if you had like a calcified lobe or something, because like to not have that maternal instinct at
I mean,
all.
it is like it's a psychopath.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, it's truly a psychopath.
Yeah.
You
Which
have
explains why she never had emotion.
Well,
Yeah.
but like you just have no empathy
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
all.
She'd probably be a
And-
TikTok star.
Yeah.
She's born in the wrong era.
But no, and then also like the simple fact that she just thought her hubris is she thought that she was going to get the clemency.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, come on, I'm a girl.
Yeah, I
and
didn't think of that,
I
yeah.
got milky tits. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I should be able to get
when
out
did
of
she
this.
not though? I mean, she had so many kids.
She fucking leg trapped him and got blasted inside because she
Yeah.
knew the net was closing.
Yeah, fair enough.
So-
But that, I mean, that's crazy. But
Because like the bulk of this podcast that we've talked about in the time frame is about 5 years or so. So I mean, that's a lot of marriages and a lot of deaths in a very short time.
Yeah, 24 in 5 years. Do the math quick. That's 5 a year.
Well,
essentially.
the first 5
One a
or the
season.
first 4 or 5 children, you know, I would not be a part of that. But it was more like when she started with George
Sure. But
and on.
that's like, think of every time the season changed, another death. That's
yeah.
But
for
then
5
she's
years
like,
straight.
she's like, oh, our baby died, but I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
You know,
In with the new, out with the old.
yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Anyway, so
Well, thank you for
thank you
doing
very
this
much.
one.
This is like so disturbing and dark.
This might
Yeah.
be, to me, the worst serial killer I've heard of in a while. And we're not calling her that, but that's
Yeah.
what this
well,
is.
And normally, like you hear about the stuff where it's like the brutality, and he
Yeah.
he gutted her and eviscerated her
Yeah.
whatnot. But it's like just the cold, just like you're dead.
Yeah.
And just like, and I think
Well,
calling
the
the shot too. It's almost kind of like you're like it's one of those like just give it a few moments, he'll be dead soon. And you're like, what? You know, like that.
Or like the
is-
babies, you know, vomiting and being so sick, and they don't know what's happening to them because they're too little. But
Well, also, just real quick to say, like, normally when I think of poison or killers or the way they frame it, it's normally like the Florence Nightingales. Or I don't know, it's the angel of mercy. It's they killed all these people, but it's because they're old and suffering.
I don't think Florence Nightingale killed people.
No, I
She was
just
like the-
isn't
the-
it a Nightingale syndrome?
Oh, okay.
Isn't that what it's called?
The like that there's
Angel
that-
of Death.
Yeah,
yeah, like
where's
an
that
angel of death. Yeah,
that lady that in England, I think, wasn't she killing a bunch of babies?
yeah, Lucy
Like,
Letby.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
reminds me
Yeah.
of this. But normally with nurses and stuff, it was out of compassion.
Oh.
They shouldn't
But-
be doing it, but that's how it was. This one's just out of inconvenience. That's
Yeah.
why it's like
Yeah.
truly
inconvenience
maniacal.
is definitely the way I would say. Like this is a pain in the ass. I'll
Due
fix it.
due to the number of children versus adults, it's definitely inconvenience.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, well, thank you very much, Renee. This has been Mary Ann Cotton, episode 141A.
Yeah. What a
And,
bitch.
My name is Adam Tom Riley.
and I'm Tom Riley. I'll be Renee. Arsenic gotta go.
No, I thought you should be Renee Shipwright.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I'm gonna go by
shimmer.
I'm going by Jake Cottonmouth from now on. Sounds like a WF wrestler. All right, we're out of here.
Later, boners.
Bye. And the audacity.
I don't know why. Why is that so much worse?
It is.
Like, oh, you
Yeah.
ugly bitch.
She must have been funny. I bet she was like, she probably sing. It was anyone that sings back then, they're like,
Yeah, right. But British singing back then, like, oh,
yeah, I know.
I'm over cherry. just like smoke, just fucking miner's coal lung. Come here, love.
Yeah.
Come get some cotton mouth.